If you're someone who struggles with chronic discomfort in your back or occasional aches and pains, if you're an athlete looking to get ready for an event or recovering after an event, or if you're simply looking for methods to help heal and strengthen your back, then this video is for you. Today we're going to be using this, which is an electric Shiatsu back massager, which is wonderful for targeting not only your back, but also your neck, your shoulders, your glutes, and your hamstrings. So it really covers the whole back body. And then we're also going to be looking at some stretches to help assess your back and integrate all the benefits of our self-massage. This is also part of a series that I'm putting together on holistic ways to take care of your back, your body, and your health. And it's all based on this, which is called the Wheel of Healing and Vitality. And today we're focusing on some self-massage techniques with a little bit of myofascial yoga integrated. And if you want to see all the videos in this series, you can check it out by clicking on the playlist, which is right here. And then you can also get a free copy of this Wheel of Healing and more resources that are part of this series by clicking here to join my mailing list. So to begin with, as I mentioned, we are going to be using this tool, which is this electric massager. And just a quick word about using tools for helping to self-massage. I strongly believe, just like a mechanic knows that if you have the right tools, you can fix pretty much any problem on your car. With the right tools for self-massage, it makes giving yourself treatments so much more effective. For one thing, it's going to save your thumbs and your hands and your body. For another thing, you're going to be able to get into the areas of discomfort, need, and attention just so much more effectively than your hands could ever do. And that's why I actually really love this electric massager. And here, if you don't have one, if you've never seen one before, here is a link where you can get one as well. And one of the reasons I love it is because they're relatively affordable. In fact, I've been using one for over 5 years. I've recommended and bought them for so many other people in my practice and in my teaching. And they're generally always $50 or less for one that will last you for many years. So yes, I absolutely recommend it. It's going to save you a ton of money and just help you in so many ways to take care of your back and your body. Now, to use it, there are these buttons on the side. The first button at the top is the on-off button, so you can see that when I press it, the wheels are spinning. The second button is this one, which gets the wheel spinning in the opposite direction. Now the one that I have, and I believe that most of them work this way, is that when you turn it on by default, it's going to spin in one direction for 1 minute, and then it's going to spin in the other direction for another minute, and it keeps rotating that for essentially 10 or 15 minutes, and then it shuts off after that. Now you can override that function to get it to spin in one direction the whole time, and depending on the parts of the body that you use it on, it may feel better for you to have it spin in both directions, or it may feel better to spin in one direction. So to get it to spin in one direction, after you turn it on, you simply press it once, and that gets it spinning in the other direction. And if you like the first direction better, then you just press it a second time, and that'll get it spinning in the original direction. So really, that's all you have to do for that. And then the next button are speeds. So there are 3 speeds on this model, and right now, and by default, it's at the lowest, and then you just press it once to make it on the second speed, and then press it again, and that takes it to the highest speed. And then the last one is whether you want to use heat or no heat. Personally, I'm a fan of using heat to help warm up my muscles whenever I use it, but of course that's totally up to you. So now that you know how to use your massager, we can really get into this. And to begin with, we're going to do a little self-assessment. And the Wheel of Healing and Vitality shows us this, that it's so important that you're not just following my directions and my ways of using the massage. I want you to get to know your own body, to use your tools with a lot of awareness and to customize it for your own needs, and also to do things really safely and effectively. So to begin, there are 2 stretches that we're going to do. Now, of course, I'm sitting on a yoga mat on the ground, and you can do it here. You can do them on a bed. You can do this sitting on a chair as well. So to begin, we are going to C-curve our spine. And so as it implies, we want to really elongate that roundedness in our back. So put your heels on the ground, point your toes up to the ceiling, bending your knees, tuck in, and just tuck in your abdomen a little bit and round your back. And release. And so I'd like us to take some nice breaths as we do this. Exhale as you round. Inhale as you come up. And repeat. And then eventually, and this really again is about individual catering to you, it's how your body feels. So if you're feeling particularly tight or stiff, stick with one breath at a time, going in and out. If you're starting to relax into it, just hold it a little bit longer and feel and notice. Notice if there are any places along your back that feel tighter than others, and release. And one of the reasons I love to do this at the beginning is because, again, when we think of back pain, we're often thinking of the places where it hurts, maybe your lower back or maybe your shoulders, wherever it may be. But this is going to help you to notice your whole back chain from your neck through your upper shoulders, your back, in the middle, your lower back, and even into your legs. And if you are doing this on the ground and you want to feel it in your legs a little more, you can also raise your feet up and down a couple of times. Start to hold them a little longer and then release. So that's the first one, and then with the second one, we're going to do a forward fold, and we're going to do it in a passive way. So your legs, if you're doing this on the mat, again, your legs would be straight. You can do this with or without a pillow. And for a lot of us, I'm sure we would want to do it with a pillow if we're having any kind of back issues. And I do want you to, again, round your back. So even if you can go really far and touch your toes, we're doing this in a more passive way with that roundedness and coming forward. Feeling into it and taking a few deep breaths. And if you have, again, any stiffness, one of the little tricks that I teach, both when I teach massage and as I'm teaching you some self-massage techniques, is to ease into your body, ease into what you're feeling, and ease into letting go. So more repetition, just going into the stretches and holding them for a shorter amount of time first, for maybe 2 or 3 seconds, coming out of it, and then going back in. That will help you to gradually relax into it. And then eventually, if you want to hold this for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, up to a minute, you can. Although at the moment, we're really just doing this to assess and get to feel where our body's at right now. So the longest we're going to hold it right now is for about 10 or 20 seconds. Just take a couple of nice big breaths, let go, and feel. And notice, how is this feeling in all the different parts of your back? Excellent. And then coming out of it. So if you notice that you're having any issues in specific areas that are more than others, like let's say your lower back, then when we use our massager, I think it makes sense that you know, okay, number one, I may want to be more sparing at the beginning if it's really intense, but eventually perhaps I might spend more time with it in those areas that have more, that need more attention, but we do want to use it in all the different parts of our back. So let's learn how to do that. Usually I'm a big fan of making a choice that either goes top to bottom or bottom to top, and again, depending on where you're at in your body, that's totally up to you. I'm going to do it here on my yoga mat, but I will say that usually when I do this, especially the lying down part that we're going to do at the end, I like to do it on a bed. I also like to do it sitting on a couch for the seated parts, or sitting in a chair as well. Totally up to you. And just do it where you feel comfortable in the ways that support you and your body. So I'm going to turn it on and get started. And one little detail I want you to notice though about the massager is that one side has this curve, one side is straighter here. And usually I'm going to hold it, so you know, we're going to start on the neck. I'm going to have the straighter side pointing up, and that's going to contour more nicely around my neck. So this tool also has handles, and it's again a great thing. So you're simply using leverage of gravity, of having your hands through these grips and just holding it. So turning around, you can see I'm starting right at the top of my back, right here where the neck is, and we can start here. So how long do we hold each position is completely up to you. It depends on how much time you have in total and what you're feeling in your body. I would say at least 1 minute in each place is a minimum. And if you have more time, you can do this for 5 minutes in each place or even more. So here's the neck, and usually for me, I like it on the lightest setting for the neck, and I like it to go in both directions. As I bring it down to the backs of my shoulders, again, I just look for the spots where it feels that there's more issues going on. And a little trick for you is that if you round your back as you're doing this, just like we were doing before with our stretches, then deeper muscles are going to come more to the surface. So here I am rounding, and I can feel it. I can feel the deep muscles of my trapezius and the muscles below there coming up to the surface. So the muscles of my shoulder blades are coming up to the surface, and I'm getting in there, and it already feels amazing. So again, for this area, my personal preference is either on the lightest or the second lightest and going in both directions, but as you massage yourself, you're going to see what you like. As I go lower, so now I'm more in the middle of my back, here is where sitting in a chair may be really ideal, or sitting on a couch. So if you have your tool resting on the back of something, then I don't even have to pull very much. It simply is being softly pressed into my back, and that feels really, really good. But otherwise, again, for the back, it just depends on the day. As I go lower, there are times where I prefer it in both directions or just one of the directions, and you'll just see what feels good for you. So in this way, I can move the massager down my back, and then when it's time to get to the legs, here we're going to change it up a little bit, and we're going to do it lying down. So this is for the legs, or for the back of the legs, and for the glutes. And this is such an important part of giving yourself a back massage, because tightness in the back is so directly related to tightness in those areas as well, and the reverse. So if you are really wanting to alleviate pain and stiffness and tightness in your back, definitely please include some time for your glutes and your upper legs or your hamstrings. So the way we do this is, number one, the part that has that curve, I like it to point up towards my butt. I like to start on my hamstrings close to my knee. And if it feels good to do it like this in a seated position, you can. And here I like to do one direction, and it's usually the first direction. So I'm going to press on the button twice to get it to just stay in the first position. And again, I can either do this sitting up, see what that feels like, or I can lie down. As I start to move it a little higher, eventually I absolutely will lie down. And it's as simple as that. You find the gap in between the motor, you place your muscle that you want to target right there, and you just rest for 30 to 60 seconds in each spot. So good. And eventually you get to the area where your leg touches your bum. You can also see that my other leg is up. Sometimes, depending on how it feels, I like to have my other knee point up. Sometimes I like to bring my knee down. And then when it's time to get to the glutes, I literally raise up a little bit and bring it in. Now the glutes have deeper muscles, so usually I will speed up the massager to get into those places. And again, that's the preference for my body and what feels good. And you can test it out and do what feels good for you. Start with a slower speed and then work up from there. Now, one thing about this massager is that it's not ideal to put all of your weight down on it. So just keep that in mind, that you may need to play with your positioning. Part of why I like to keep my other knee up, because if I had my other one down, it might be putting too much weight pressing down on it and the balls won't spin all the way. So having this knee up lets me help to control how much of my weight is going to sink in on here. Turning my body slightly in different positions also gets into the muscles in such a wonderful way. Oh, it's so good. So after I'm done on one leg, I can just slide it over and do it on the other leg. So what I'm finding for today is that it's less comfortable in this direction on this leg, so I just pressed the button to get the wheels to spin in the other direction for this leg. Working my way up, and then eventually coming all the way up to the glutes on the other side. So that's the massage for our legs and our back. And then to finish off, to help integrate the benefits as our body has become more supple and relaxed. Again, this is optional, but if you have the time, then a couple of more stretches that you can bring in at the end. We can actually go back to the first two, having your heels on the ground, curve your spine, test it out, and you can see just what a difference it's made in your back, and it has made quite a noticeable difference for me. And then going back to the forward bend. So you can do this with a pillow or not. Again, it just depends on your body. This time, really bring your arms up, wiggle into your body, and hinge and come forward wherever it feels good for you. You can do this in the more rounded way, or you can try to be a little more straight. You can test it all out. You can even move your feet a little bit as you do this. So again, we're activating and we're feeling our whole back chain of our body as we do this. And we bring the benefits of our massage into our body. Now, I've been teaching Thai massage for 22 years and giving it and working with these principles. And one of the wonderful things about Thai massage is that it really is a massage that uses both stretching and massage together. And when you combine those two, the therapeutic benefits are just amplified tremendously. So that's what we're doing now. We did some good passive massage, got into all kinds of good spots, and now we're being a little more active, integrating and feeling and bringing those benefits even more into our body. And the last one, so with the forward bend, we can do this for a minute. We can even do this at the end now for up to 2 or 3 or even 5 minutes, depending on your body. And if you're doing this on a chair, then the way you would do it is simply place your elbows on your knees and just slowly lean forward and come forward to the degree that works for you. Again, use pillows if you like, if it supports your body. Very last one is, let's get into a child's pose. So we're sitting on our heels, and if this doesn't work for you and your body to bring yourself this far down, again, this is a wonderful time to use a pillow. You can really stack even more than one pillow, take pressure off of your heels, your knees, your feet, and you can have more pillows in front of you, in fact, because if, I can go all the way down to the ground, but if you can't, put more pillows here to support your body, and then just simply come into that forward bend. And this is going to be tremendously helpful to help open up your lower back, your hips, your sacrum, all of the places that we've been massaging in the lower part of our body. So take at least 1 minute there to complete your massage. And if you have any questions, please post them down below. I would love to hear from you, both before or after you've tried this out, and see how it feels in your back and in your body. I mentioned before, this is part of a series, and if you want to get the free Wheel of Healing and Vitality, then click here so that you can get a free copy and more resources that I can send your way, and you'll get the first notifications every time I post a new video. And then also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click on the bell so that you get notifications here on YouTube every time I post a new video. I hope that you find this incredibly beneficial for your back and for your body. I know for myself, I do some version of this at least once a week, and it's been tremendous in helping with all of my aches and pains and issues. I have a lot of long-term issues in my left hip and in my left side. I also really like to play sports, and I'm very active, so I push myself quite a bit, and the stuff that I've shown you today I've been doing for years, and it's just been a tremendous, tremendous asset in my road to healing, health, strength, and just being in optimal shape. So I wish the same for you, and we'll talk to you real soon.